Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. This show is broadcast from the Charleston, South Carolina area. But I want to talk to you about Alabama. Marriage in Alabama. The ripples from the U.S. Supreme Court's Obergefell decision creating same-sex marriage, a ruling the Chief Justice said was unrelated to the Constitution, continue to be felt. One of the biggest impacts has been the prosecution of Christian florists, photographers, cake bakers, who declined to promote same-sex marriage because of their religious beliefs. Well, Alabama lawmakers apparently have had enough. A law went into effect just last Friday that eliminates the state's role in approving marriages, making it largely a record keeper. AL.com reported the law makes obtaining a marriage license as simple as filling out a state form and returning it. No ceremony, no signature by an officiant, such as a minister or judge, is required. Applicants simply put their names on the form, have it notarized, send it in. At the 10th Amendment Center blog, Mike Mahari said that while the change in the law may seem like semantics, it is quite significant. It ends the requirements to get permission from the state before getting married. The state will now record signed contracts between consenting adults. In effect, it removes the state from the approval process and relegates it to a mere record keeper. He pointed out the law will maintain a few state requirements governing marriage. For example, minors between the ages of 16 and 18 still must obtain parental permission before applying to record a marriage. The state will not record a marriage if either party was already married. And the parties cannot be related by blood or adoption as already stipulated in state law. Oh, and civil or religious ceremonies will no longer be required. Mahari said the law is a step toward returning to the traditional Western custom in which the state had little or no involvement in marriage, even though it was a legal contract as well as a religious institution. Marriage in medieval Europe technically fell under the legal jurisdiction of the Roman Catholic Church, with priests officiating weddings at the door of the community church. However, it was ultimately a private arrangement that did not require a third party in order to be considered legitimate. He noted the state's role in defining and regulating marriage, quote, has become a contentious issue and places a burden on government officials torn between the legal requirements of their jobs and their personal religious convictions. He went on to say, by limiting the state's role in marriage, the legislation will allow Alabamans to structure their personal relationships as they see fit without interference or approval from the government. He said that removing state meddling in marriage will render void the edicts of federal judges that have overturned state laws defining the institution. The founding generation never envisioned unelected judges issuing ex-cathedral pronouncements regarding the definition of social institutions, and the Constitution delegates the federal judiciary no authority to do so. So what do you think? A couple showing up at a church or a justice of the peace, over 18 years of age, wanting to be married? You worked for hundreds, thousands of years. Can it work here? Now? I must admit, in reading this article, it caused me some consternation. Reading it back to you tonight has caused me a little bit of that same consternation. It's awkward to have lived 75 years under a system that is now I'm being told it has no authority, shouldn't have been done in the first place. I cannot find the flaw in the reasoning. At the same time, it's a scary proposition that people can just come together, fill out a form, send it in, and assuming there's no outstanding issues pointing little sticks at them. They just go on about their business. They're married. Parents don't have to be involved. Family doesn't have to be involved. Church doesn't have to be involved. Society in general isn't really. They're just taking up housekeeping together. But isn't that what people have been doing for the last 50 years? I suppose they did it before and we didn't know it. But in the last 50 years, people have just started living together. And initially it was outrageous. And even today it's not good. Why not? Well, there's no accountability, no authority. There's nobody involved saying, yes, this is a good thing. And there's nobody now in there that can say, you know what, it's not a good thing and you ought not to have done it in the first place. Get out of that relationship. Well, you can't do it. But for upwards of almost 6,000 years, that's the way people have been doing it. Only in the last 500, I guess, have people done it a different way. Where's that going to take us? I don't think it's going to impact our life at all. Now, I think that individuals who get married, yes, they don't have the formality. They can have it if they want it, but they don't have to have it. And the formality is important. The formality of parents coming together, giving assent to this. The formality of having families come together to observe this. The benefit of clergy and the accountability that affords, so that people can't just walk away, leaving these children to now have parents in two different states, and all the nonsense that goes on with it. It's very unruly. It's not neat. But as I've told you before, and I'll keep telling you again, that's the way our culture is moving globally. We're moving away from the standards, the solid posts that we've always had. These solid posts and standards were rooted in the Word of God. And it is now the Word of God that is being rejected. It is the Word of God that must be done away with. It's not somebody standing up and saying, I decree. It's all these little things. Until finally we just have a society that gets along. We just live together and do what we're doing. No big deal. Unhealthy? Destructive? You betcha. Welcome to our brave new world.